Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Jumping Flash 2 Part 8. So now we're finally in the final worlds of the Baron of the Two Faces of Baron Aloha story. So we're coming across these plant enemies again, and this is the same world as we were in before in World 6. But now, of course, it's been rearranged and everything like that. We can jump on things. This world actually is very similar to World 6 and the original Jumping Flash, in which it involves like very large things to jump or like really far jumps. And very small platforms to jump on. There's moo-moos that are things that go up and down, that you can bounce in there, you can collect the moo-moos. Well, first game was jet pods, but obviously moo-moos gets Jumping Flash too. And it looks like we're above space. This level is probably set somewhere in space. There's a toaster there, and apparently in the first game was supposed to be some sort of stadium. To me, this seems more like something that could be some sort of stadium, like maybe this is some sort of obstacle course event or something like that, where people have to do long jumps for all sorts of bizarre things. It almost seems like something could be an Olympic sport or something like that. So, of course, here's the obligatory bonus stage again. This is going to make up for the bonus stage that I lost the first time around, first time I went to World 6. Now we're going to see if I can make up for it by, clearing the bonus stage. This actually does look more like a Jumping Flash 1 bonus stage, because of how very little ground there is, especially because World 6 now says this is supposed to be the hardest bonus stage in the game. I don't think this really is the hardest bonus stage in the game, but it could be. And of course, I'm not using any special items or any of that because, I just need to use the magic arrows or whatever his main weapon is, and that's it. So Jumping Flash 2 has been a really great game overall. It's definitely one of the best games in PS1. The original game is like an absolute masterpiece, and this one's slightly better. So this would be, in theory, like one of the greatest games the PS1 has ever conceived. It really is an awesome masterpiece of a game. It actually has an intriguing story that actually keeps the gamer entertained, even though people don't play games with stories that much, but it's still good that they do that. It has good gameplay, good graphics. These graphics are actually really good for a 1996 PS1. I'm sure they're both the same as they were in the first game. But these are really good for early PS1 standards. I've seen later PS1 games that don't look as good as this. Even later PS1 games didn't always take full advantage of what the system was capable of, but this game really took it really well. Sure, it still plays like an SNES game in which the length is not that long. This game is very short, like an SNES or Genesis game. This game can easily be cleared in like an hour, well not an hour, more like maybe 2 hours or so, which is like about the same length or almost the same length as a Genesis game or an SNES game. The music in this game is really good, and almost everything about this game is really good. It's like really, it's really good. I don't have much bad stuff to say about this game. This is like an underrated masterpiece, a game. It's like one of those games that that proves that it's possible for mankind to achieve something awesome out of pure insanity. This game actually could be used as like a psychological case study, because there is a lot of like the effects of insanity and displayed throughout this game. This is an insane idea, but then again, you can say the same for a lot of other video games. Video games are insane ideas overall. I think that may have been why some people thought they promoted insanity or something like that, because video games were like rock music at one point in time, where people thought there was like, oh, this is the devil's thing, we don't want this around, we don't want anything to do with this. But of course, if games like this, I can see why people think something like that, like this is promoting insanity, proving to people it's okay to be insane. And the lights in this level are already off at the beginning. You don't have to, well, in the first time around they were turned on, but now we have to, and then you can turn them off, but now you have to turn them on. I don't even know where the light switch is. I actually haven't played these extra levels as much, so I wouldn't really know. There's a seat there. You can sit there and watch the TV, but it's always test colors 24/7. Some channel that says non-stop test colors. That actually would be cool if they made a TV channel like that. I mean, there was a TV channel that showed commercials. I remember I used to have this TV channel that showed commercials 24/7. It would also show it's currently on all the other TV channels too. I don't think that channel exists anymore. It's kind of redundant now that almost every TV system now is a guide of where you just select a channel you want. And commercials, are just played everywhere. People hate commercials these days. Commercials aren't really that imaginative nowadays as they were a long time ago. The 90s had all kinds of cool commercials. That's why part of why I think the 90s was the greatest decade ever. This game perfectly demonstrates why I think the 90s was really awesome. The 90s had all the best stuff. The technology was way better than it was in the 80s. TV technology got really good, so you could view like really good, like sharp and crisp, clear images that look awesome. Like right now we're underwater, and the water textures would have looked really good. I know, I used to play this game on a TV from the 90s all the time, so I can confirm that, yes, the textures do look really good on the 90s. So you couldn't look so much good on a modern TV now, because modern TVs, they always stretch out pixels and things like that, but let me find a classic TV from the 90s. It does look really good, because you can see if you got really close to that Moo Moo, you see it has an 8 on its head. That's that Moo Moo we saw earlier at the factory, or in the factory level earlier. And now we're fighting against this Moo Moo right now. So we've met him before, technically speaking. We saw him once before. If only there was a way we could have destroyed him at the factory, so we wouldn't have to be fighting him now. This fight's pretty much just the same. The only thing they changed is that it's now underwater. And apparently the difference in buoyancy or something would have something to do with the fact that now the game is I don't know if that does anything. Does buoyancy even really do much? It's almost like how water was in the original Mega Man, where there wasn't any buoyancy at all. Then again, in theory, it wouldn't really do much since Mega Man was really heavy and Robot's I have no idea how much Robot weighs, so it probably is quite a lot. It's probably comparable to that of Mega Man. A lot of the best Mega Man games also came out in the 90s. Never a reason to love the 90s. The 90s really wasn't an imaginative decade where internet would work by connecting your computer to your phone line and make a freaky sound and it would bring you to the internet. The internet was a lot more imaginative back then too. People would watch videos and people would find images and information. It wasn't so much as used as a tool or a vessel to contain deranged. I'm sure demented and deranged stuff existed on the 90s back then. Even today it's even worse. There's so much crap on the internet these days. But again, that's not really a new thing when you consider the fact that the 90s had some pretty bizarre stuff. I once found some fan fiction that someone wrote of that Saturday morning Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon. He wrote it back in 1999. It was still there about a year ago on some website. That's still up. There's all kinds of old websites you can still find. I find old websites all the time. The most famous one's the Space Jam website. There was just some odd charm. Just earlier today too, I was watching a video about upgrading older computers, using this fan service thing that's like Windows Update, but it allows you to update old computers. It looks really cool, actually. I think they should make updates for more. Fans should make updates for more older computers so people can still use old computers and pump life back into them. I like pumping life back into old computers. I wish I could pump life back into my 2012 Samsung Galaxy Tab 2. It's the only tablet I ever owned, and I still have it to this very day, but it's not really useful anymore because of its primitive limitations it has, and because it does have a lot of limitations. It can only recognize data of up to 8 gigabytes and for micro SD cards, and it's very slow for YouTube. I tried watching my YouTube videos. It's very slow. So it's very slow and sluggish. And Google Play doesn't even work on it anymore either, so yeah, there's not much point in that anymore. It happens to everything over time. I'm sure there's maybe hack it and turn into an emulation machine, but then again, there's no really any control ports on it. I don't think we're really good for that. The smartphone actually would make a perfect game system. I actually found a way to plug a controller into my smartphone and actually play this game on my smartphone using a controller, so it feels like I'm playing on an actual PS1. I think it could make the experience better if there was a way to connect it to my TV, so I can play as if it's an actual gaming system. But of course, that sounds too good, so of course that's not going to exist. This boss is really challenging too. This boss is really challenging because this boss actually gets up and flies this time around. You have to aim your weapon. It's almost impossible to do that on a keyboard control. I actually struggle hard at this boss actually because I'm playing on a keyboard, and you also have a time limit too, and you're constantly running out of time too. Time is actually the biggest challenge in this game, so Captain Kabuki has now been destroyed, has now been defeated, so now we can finally see the final ending of this game, the absolute last ending of this game.
Not again! So, you think you can just fight me out with the heroics, Mr. Rabbit? Well, think again. As long as I have access to electricity oder your sparkles, you're gonna be a postal rabbit. Just you wait and mark my words, you smart alecky buddy. Just you wait!
So much for the wickedly rotten plans of the evil and mad Baron Aloha. It looks like he's going to be screaming mad for some time to come. Maybe his voice will finally give out. Maybe he'll discover the virtues of silence and retire to an asteroid known for its solitude and the occasional meteor storm. Who can say? But we can hope now, can't we? As for Robert, well, let's just say our robotic jumper of joy is looking forward to a nice long vacation before he prepares to head off for new adventures. We hope you had a good time. See you soon.
You betcha who slaps on that one. Ah!
Now the game is over, it's going to finally show the credits, the actual credits of the game. Instead of playing that remix of the title screen theme or something, or that thing that begins the title screen goes into its own musical cue like what it did in the first game, Instead, it's giving us a rap in Japanese, a very 90s sounding rap song. I mean, rap in the 90s is very different than it is today. Where actually had meaningful lyrics and actually had like music that wasn't just downright stolen from other stuff, unless it was like Ice Ice Baby or something like that, where it stole like a bass line from every song. But these credits they're just like how it was in the first game, where it just shows remixes on the side of the screen of like different scenes of the game. It actually kind of fits with the rap theme, though, like remix and rap. I mean, the first game did stuff like that too, but there's no rap music in the first game. I'm actually not a fan of the music being played in these end credits. Capitao Suzuki, apparently Captain Kabuki's name is Capitao Suzuki, that's his real name. It doesn't make any sense, because Capitao, however you say that, that's supposed to be Portuguese for captain. But yeah, there's no rubber references in this entire game to the Portuguese language. It just seems very random out of place that they just throw a Portuguese title in there, a Portuguese word in there. It doesn't make any sense. There's nothing Portuguese about Jumping Flash 2. Introducing us to the characters and the enemies, telling us what all the enemies are called. I don't remember. It's called that crab thing, or that flying thing, or that bat thing, or whatever it is. I never actually call the enemies about their actions. I doubt anyone really cares about what they're actually called. Paraglider, Kiwi. It's a kiwi on a paraglider. Burger San. I think San is like Japanese or Mr. It's like Mr. Burger, then in other words. I wonder if there's a burger place in Japan called that Burger San. There's some origami thing, and there's a frog thing, I'm pretty sure that frog was in the first game too. Same with those enemies. Almost all the enemies in this game were also in the first Jumping Flash. This brought back all the enemies because they didn't get enough of a beating in the first game. The story was done by 2 people again, I think it was just like the people that did the story to the first game. Just a story, like it's not even much of a story at all. I don't know, maybe they count writing the script as part of the story or something. That's probably what it is. All these people worked on this game. These are people I've probably never heard of before, but I never will hear of again anything afterwards. A lot of these same names also in the first Jumping Flash, I remember correctly. Then again, what do I remember? There's that Prince Frog, that poisonous frog, which I think is new in this game. There's some slime enemies and flower enemies. And the same guy did the music to the first game, does the music in this game. Yeah, he was a really good composer. It's really a shame that he's dead now, but his music was really good. Like, he's like one of the greatest composers. I've heard people asking if you could listen to any video game song, like an orchestral version of any video game song. There's one from Jumping Flash. It might be the ending credits song from the first game, or it might be Distant Cosmos World 6-1 music from the first Jumping Flash. Oh man, I kinda do like the first Jumping Flash music a little bit more, and Baron Aloha's voiced by the same guy I voiced him in the first game, and despite that, he sounds completely different in this game than he did in the first game. Same with the narrator. The narrator I think is voiced by the same guy too, but they sound very different from how they did in the first game. And they change their voices or something like that, they do some sort of voice acting differently. X-Act Mumu. The first game said X-Act Ultra, this one says X-Act Mumu for some reason. They changed their name. Companies often change their name, and the third game isn't even made by X-Act at all. It's made by a different company called Sugar and Rockets, which would explain why the game runs on a different game engine. This is showing us more of the enemies. There's a fish enemies, this flying fish. There's a red kiwi. I don't know the difference between the red kiwi and the green kiwi. And of course, it's going to end by showing Universal City Hall. It's going to go to like some monochrome scene, like some cinematic monochrome thing, like sepia toned monochrome or something like that. I don't know. It's going to say like Jumping Flash, yeah, see it's just doing that right now. It's kind of just, well, it does have all the characters. It's going to down to a Robert, of course. Of course, Robert's the main character of this game. It's the most important character of this game. The main character is just flying off, just like in some sort of remix of him flying away. Robert. Doesn't even say his name because we know he's Robert. Yeah, you don't have to tell us that's what he's called. We all know that he's Robert, the robot rabbit. That's showing us some people worked in the US version of this game from the US staff. And there's a post-credit scene in this game. Let's see what this post-credit scene is.
I wonder what happened to the Baron.
I'm sorry, little fellows. It was just a little case of...
Yeah. Your mother wears army boots.
Get out of here, you stinker.
The first game began with us looking at Baron Aloha, and now the second game ends with us looking at Baron Aloha, as his moo-moos crack jokes and make absolutely no sense at all. You're wearing Bear's army boots. I don't know, did Chris Chan write the jokes to this game? I know it seems like that sometimes, or maybe it means something in Japan. I don't know. There's our scores for the scores I got. The score I got the first time around, and the score I got in the second time around. You can see on the left there's World and Extra. That's what they call it, World and Extra. These different awards I won. I won different awards for winning different things. Flower Child, Door Prize, Hasta La Vista, Baron, Big Sweat, No Trouble, Paradise something, Paradise Bonanza, no Bonus Bonanza, Penny Pincher, Eldor. You can change the arrangement of them to use them like this, ooh, this appears, so it looks like there's still a few awards that I haven't won yet. I wonder what happens when you win all the awards in this game. You get like a special prize. Does a phone number appear on the screen? You could call the phone number and win a bunch of stuff. Like in that MTV game on the NES where you could win so much stuff. I wonder if anyone's ever done that before. So this is Jumping Flash 2, another legendary masterpiece for the PS1. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.